Greetings. Today we are going to start our lecture series on transform domain signal processing and application, and we are going to go ahead from the point where we left. So in the introductory bite, we had just told you what exactly are transform, what exactly are signals, etc. So these are the reference materials which was told, and along with this, the overview of the lecture was given where the objective was to understand what are signals, what are the types of signals, what is signal processing in general, what is transformation, and take some few examples, analogies, and conclude. So this was what was told in the earlier bite where we try to understand signals from a layman's perspective, where we understood it as something which conveys some information. Next, we try to take few examples where we try to see few graphs. So with this, we came to the technical language where we defined a signal as something, some physical quantity which is varying with respect to an independent variable. So there were three graphs which I explained. So the first graph was with respect to a typical winter day in India where the independent variable was time and the physical quantity being measured was temperature. Next, after that, we saw the lecture class where I gave it as a holistic example where we measured the student interest level against a time, and in order to tell that not every time the independent variable would be time, we took an example from physics domain where we try to tell that the independent variable could also be frequency. So if frequency is plot against for the tuning fork experiment, then the fork when it is hit, it makes the largest sound at a particular frequency. In this example, we took it as 500 hertz here. So here it was the maximum, which was referred to as resonance. So this is the point at what we have left. So we'll start from this. We go in details. So we try to understand what are the types of signals. So the first type of signal, this is a broad categorization. The first type of signal we would like to understand is a one-dimensional signal, typically referred to as an audio. So this is a audio sequence which we have plot. So here there is one dimension. The dimension is time, and the amplitude is how what is the strength of the voice. If the voice is very large, then there would be a large amplitude, and if the voice is small, that the amplitude would be small. So the independent variable here would be time. So we have plot from 0 till 2000 milliseconds, and the physical quantity is the sound amplitude, which is varying between zero point 0.2 to 0.45. So here I have just plot this value on in a table format just to discretize and give you an example. So if you could see, the dimension is time in milliseconds, the independent variable at 0, the physical quantity, that is the amplitude, is 0. So it is somewhere here. Next at 400, we could see that the amplitude is zero point 0.4, somewhere here. Next at 1000, we could see that it is 0.22. So this is a typical one-dimensional signal which we refer to as an audio speech. Like this, there are many one-dimensional signals where there is only variation with respect to one variable, which is time. So you could have ECG, EMG, etc., etc. So this is the starting of the signal types of signals where we are introducing you to an audio sequence. Like this, the next signal would be, I think you can guess this, would be two-dimensional, where we would have variation in two dimensions. So here typically that is referred to as a signal. So where you have two dimension, the X and the Y. So here, and that is referred in signal processing language as an image. So what is an image? To be very layman specific, we could say that an image is a two-dimensional signal. So here you could see the Lina image here, which is a spatial variation of X and Y, dimension 1 and dimension 2. I have just zoomed the portion one patch, 8 by 8 patch, and trying to show you what is there within this patch. So dimension 1, dimension 2, which we refer to as the row and column, and dimension number 1 is row number 1, dimension 2, row number 1. So here I have plotted dimension 1, dimension 2. The physical quantity in the earlier part was sound amplitude. Here it is not so. Here it is referred to as, the physical quantity is referred to as intensity. So intensity is nothing but for a gray level image, a number between 0 and 255. So here it is row number 1, column number 1 has value 183, row number 1, column number 2 has value 60, row number 1, column number 3 has value 94, row number 1, column number 4 has row 153. So these intensity values are referred in technical language as pixels. So pixel is nothing but the value of intensity. Here it is varying between 0 to 255 because the image that is shown is a gray image. So this is typically a 2D signal. So like this, we again go ahead and try to understand. Let's add one more dimension to it, and let's come to one more dimension. The three-dimensional signal, I think it is easy to guess. It should be a set of images. So if two dimension, I want to add one more. So this is what we get, which we refer to as video. So in this, you could see a video sequence, which are nothing but set of frames stacked one after the other, one after the other. So here I have given an example of 3 frames. An image with regard to video is called a frame. So here frame number 1, this is the same as an earlier image where you have 2D variations, dimension 1 and dimension 2. Like this, these frames, that is images, are kept one after the other, one after the other. So and played at a particular rate, which we call it as frame rate. So here the dimension 1 is row number 1, dimension 2 is row number 1. So I am somewhere here on the first image, frame number 1, dimension 3 is frame number 1, and the intensity value being measured is 200. Similar to this, row number 1, column number 1, when I say the third dimension is 2, I am referring to frame number 2. Similarly, dimension 1 is 1, dimension 2 is 1, dimension 3, that is frame number is 3, I am on my third frame. So these are the intensity values, and since it is the 2D spatial variation again kept one after the other and played at a particular rate, this is a video signal. So if you see here, I'll play this particular video. So this is how it looks. So if you see this, so this is a typical Stephan image taken in video analytics research. So if we give a common example, I think when I was a kid, so we used to see, there used to be a pinhole camera where we used to put our eyes and see, and there used to be someone who used to rotate the frames one after the other to make it feel as if it is a video. So three-dimensional signal is video. So we have understood now 3 things: audio, image, video. So how they are varying as per the dimensionality. 1D is audio, 2D is image, and 3D is video. So coming to, so we understood what are signals, we understood types of signals. Now we come to understand what is processing. So let's understand with audio processing. Suppose this is the voice with which I speak, and suppose here I introduce noise. So what happens? There is sudden high frequency parts which are coming in between. So now I don't like to hear this. I want to hear a good audio. So what do? I want to remove. What is my motivation here? My motivation here is to remove the noise from this. So what I do audio processing, which I call filtering. So typically it is filtering, removing the noise, and this is I get the cleaned audio. So like this, there are a lot of processing that can be done with 1D signals. I have just given one of the example here. Coming next to the domain of image processing. So obviously my input should be a image. So if you look at this particular image, this image is taken on a foggy morning for an airstrip, on an airstrip. And if you could see, the airstrip is not visible. So here there is a lot of fog, the light is very bright. So I want to adjust the contrast so that there could be an easy landing here. So I do enhancement here, adjust the contrast. So I do an enhancement operation, which is an image processing operation. So as I see here, so when I see this, you could see that there is the airstrip is more clear. You could see some houses, you could see a water body around that, which makes the job easier. Similar to this, you could see this particular image where there is a lot of noise added in this, and here this is we want to clean this particular image. So this is a typical image taken for some vegetables. So here I want to remove the noise, so denoise. So when I do denoising, this is more clearer here. Coming to the next example, here restoration example, you could see that this particular image has a lot of blur in it. So we would like to remove the blur, so de-blur it, and we get a cleaned image. Similar to this, There are many other types of operation. So here we have shown some people standing here, and there are bounding boxes around their faces, which is called face detection. I think this is typically seen with respect to nowadays whatever mobile cameras we have. So next comes the third type of processing, video processing. Here the idea would be what we process videos. So here I would like to show you here what happens. So see here, if you could see, there is a video sequence with a lot of jitter, handshake, a violent camera which is moving, so which makes the objects shake, so which is not very good to process. So I could send this entire video through a video processing module, wherein I could do some sort of a processing and get a stabilized sequence. So the stabilized sequence looks something like this. So if you look here, the video is quite stable, although there is loss at the borders, but still you could see the car coming in or the cycle person going easily. So audio processing, image processing, video processing are the typical video processings that we do with respect to signals. So now let's try to understand one by one what is transformation. Before transforms, let us try to understand what is transformation. So I take this example, you could see this particular area of land in 2001, which is barren, and in 2013, it is full of vegetation. So what has happened here? There is a transformation that vegetation has been grown here. Similar to this, a foggy morning in New Delhi, say India Gate, you could see that it is not very apparent. So, like I think this is taken during lockdown. So here you could see that there is not much fog here, and it is quite, the transformation is really useful. So let us take one more example. See, this is an architectural example. So you could see a room here where we want to do some transformation. So if you could see, the lighting has changed, the flooring has changed, there is an optimum use of the furnitures, which makes the particular room look good. So this is a room transformation. So what is a transformation in general? Transformation is something we want to extract something useful in it. So let's come to signal processing and understand what is transformation with respect to signal processing. So let us take this, what is this transform domain? So when I show you this particular wave and ask you what is this, typically you will tell, sir, this is a simple sine wave. Now I increase my question level and ask you, what is the frequency of this wave? So you will tell, please give me an oscilloscope and I will measure the frequency. So what do? You pass this signal through the oscilloscope and you get something like this. So you could see that the wave varies, the start of this cycle to the start of the next cycle, you could see from 0 to 1 milliseconds. So what will you calculate? I have asked you the frequency. So what you will tell? Frequency equal to 1 over 1 milliseconds, that's the time period. So this frequency of this wave is 1000 hertz. Now I say that if I don't give you this oscilloscope, will you be able to measure the frequency? Then you would say probably not. So in this case, there is someone coming to the rescue, which I refer and to as the transform domain. And this is the example that I give every year in my class, that assume there is a magic box. So I don't do the measurement. Assume that there is a magic box. I send it through the magic box. So what I call this magic box? I call this magic box as a domain change. So what I want to change from my time domain, the sinusoidal signal, I want to measure its frequency. So obviously I want to change from time domain to frequency domain. So the transform domain, what I want to do here is from time to frequency. And how would I do it? I would typically do it via using some mathematical formula. For that, we will wait for our future lectures and understand. Now we are on the very basic, as I've told you that these lectures have been designed keeping in mind the 9-year-old kid who would like to understand what is being taught. So with that motivation, I am trying to tell you that we want to find out, there is a magic box through which you will send this wave, and what is the output of this magic box? The magic box gives you the output that there is one peak, which we technical language called an impulse, at exactly the frequency at what it is present, at 1000 hertz. And if we could do that, then that particular domain is called transform domain. So what is useful comparing it to my earlier example? Something useful is measured here. Does it mean that there is no frequency in this wave in time domain? Answer is no, but it is little bit difficult to measure. So let's go to the next. So let's see this. So I have just expanded this without the oscilloscope. So I send a sine wave here. I do some mathematical calculations, which is referred to as transform. So from original signal, which is time domain, which I wanted to measure the frequency, I will not use my oscilloscope, but directly I will use some mathematical formula, and let us assume that that formula gives me a frequency of the measurement, and exactly 1000 Hz it is giving me. So this domain change is transform domain, and the magic box is called the transformation or transform. So let's come to the transform domain magic box a little bit later. So let's try to assimilate what I'm trying to say. So in the time domain, what is tedious to measure? Frequency is tedious to measure. But what is very apparent? What is apparent is its sinusoidal nature. From the nature, I can just tell that it is a sine wave. So I do a transformation. It is a one-dimensional transformation because I am transforming t to f, time to frequency. So it's a one-dimensional transformation. Little bit more technical, I define the magic box as a function of t comma f. So then what I do, I come to my transform domain, and let's assume I got a peak, which we call it an impulse. What is easy here? Frequency is very apparent, 1000 Hertz, I can directly see. What is not apparent? The nature of the wave is not apparent. So similar peak may be got with a cosine wave also, and in fact we get it. So how do we, so to satisfy those or answer those questions, we'll be going into that a little bit later. So as of now, we will try to be satisfied with the transform being a magic box. So this is what it is. Now let us see one more analogy what I typically give in my classes to tell what is a transform. So let's see the transform from this angle. This is India map as taken from Google Map. So here I would like, here my motivation is to find out NIT Rourkela. So this is where I teach, where I take my class. So I want to find out NIT Rourkela. Something says to me when I Google and I say that NIT Rourkela comes on the eastern part of India. So what I do, I take a magnifying glass. In this case, it would be zoom. Typically, I would go on zooming plus 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 for Google. So it is called a magnifying glass I take, and I keep it over what? Over the eastern part of India. So when I keep it over the eastern part of India, so what do I see? I see that the few neighboring states, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha being here. So now I still want to understand where is NIT Rourkela, and someone tells me that it is on the western part of Odisha, nearby to Ranchi. So what I do, I keep it more near the magnifying glass on nearby Ranchi, and I get Rourkela township. And here I get Rourkela township, which is a beautiful town in the eastern part of India with a good river hamlet. So here I try to see next, this is what I get, and next in this I try to search what? I try to search where is NIT Rourkela. So transform analogy here is, it's like a magnifying glass. So it helps me to, so does it mean that on India map NIT Rourkela is not there? It is there, but it is not very apparent. So what I need to do, I need to zoom or magnify and go to that particular area. So transform is something like that. So coming to the imaging examples, I take this example, say for example, this is an image. So where the original image and its spectrum in transform domain. So here you could see we want to rotate the image, right? So what I do, I put a 2-degree rotation on this, and when I see the transform, it is not very apparent in the image domain. When I see the transform, you see these 4 dots have sort of come out. And when I increase the rotation angle from 2 degrees to 5 degrees to 10 degrees, these dots try to go out. So I can measure that angle displacement very easily in the transform domain, which would be difficult to do in the image domain or the intensity domain. So rotation angle estimation is easy and apparent in the transform domain. Next, let's take a noisy image. Some sort of harmonic noise has entered this particular image, and it's very difficult for me to do either a high pass or a low pass or any pass sort of filtering to this. So what I do, I'm not able to find out what pass filtering I'll do here. So what I do, I try to see its transform. So I apply the transform, which till now I refer to as a magic box. So I get this spectrum in the transform domain, the frequency. So I get these 3 frequencies. So what I do, I use some sort of mathematics and see that some frequency selective filtering has to be done. So I go for a filter design. So by taking the input noisy image from this, I will understand at what frequency there is a noise, and I'll design a filter. I'll do some filter design, and I will take inverse transform and I'll clean the image. So this is what a noise cleaned image what I get. So if you could see this image, it is far more better than what the noisy image appeared. So transform domain helps me to do that. Now coming to one more big domain that we have where transforms are useful is the compression. So an original JPEG, I have taken one example where JPG is written on a brick. So its original size is 80 KB. So I do some encoding which uses some transform. As of now, let's keep it simple. So uses some transform. Then here the motivation is to reduce the size. What is compression? Some 80 KB image, I want to make it 1 KB. So that is my transform, like that is my compression from a general point of view. So let us assume that I could do it via an image encoder and I get the bit stream and it is 10 kilobytes. Now what I do at the decoder, I use the inverse transform and see whether it is okay or not, and I reconstruct the image. So the compressed image file is 10 KB. So it's really good, and 80 KB became 10 KB. So the compression achieved is 8 times, right? Using a transform as one of the components of the block. However, there is a catch. You could see a little bit of blurring, which is very apparent in the image on the which is compressed. So it's a trade-off between the way in which the compression as well as the quality. So on these angles, we will be talking a little bit later. So now we will come to the next part. So where these transform domains are used. So these transform domains are used in audio, speech with enhancement, restoration, compression, forensics, analytics, etc. Similar to this, there is an image. In image, again, we do enhancement, we do restoration, we do compression, we do forensics, we do analytics. Video. So coming to the summary and concluding notes, as you have already seen, we have started defining signals, something as very simple as which conveys information. We have seen later part that it is a function of an independent variable. We have seen the types of signals, 1D, 2D, 3D. After that, we have seen signal processing, which is nothing but playing around with signals to extract useful information. Then we have seen transform, which I have given the analogy of a magnifying glass, that it helps to understand the signals better. Then we have seen transform domain, I refer to as because we are playing some game. So it is like a playground which helps us to analyze signals easily. Applications unlimited, if I go on and on and on, it won't stop. So that let's keep as part as the course progresses. So coming to the part, we are ending this particular lecture here. So however, before I could end, I would like to tell one important part which is important from an understanding point of view for transform domain, that please, it's my request that let's keep this particular learning to be very fun without having the motivation of keeping some examinations into point of view, because whenever we do that, we lose learnings. So what is important is how better we have understood this domain, because grades come, grades go, marks come, marks go. I even don't remember what grade I have scored in this particular course a few years back, a couple of years back. So I don't remember that. So let's keep things simple. Let's be motivated that we want to understand signal processing. We want to make it as friendly as possible so that it could be helpful to make somebody understand, or it could also be to do research and generate interest. With this, we are next going to come up with interesting lecture series where we would like to again expand those magic boxes. So we'll keep those things for the future. For this particular lecture, I am ending it here. Thank you for your time. Greetings again.